Hello again, I'm Dan and welcome back to Adventures in Guitarland, where I teach you how to play guitar by playing a role-playing game. Today, we do have some lessons, we also have some other stuff. So what we're going to learn is some strumming and picking techniques, as well as how to read tablature. And that's all in conjunction with our first role-playing game story element within this adventure in Guitarland. If this is your first time seeing Adventures in Guitarland, please go back and view the Level 0 and Level 1 playlists so it can get you caught up to where we are this far. Additionally, make sure you like, subscribe, and click that bell icon so you're notified whenever I come out with new content. One last thing, go to the comment section below and let me know what you're hoping to learn. Is it that you're wanting to learn a specific song? Is it you just want to play a specific style of guitar? Is it that you want to learn a technique like tapping or a specific fingerstyle technique? I really want to know so that I can help gear this instruction towards what the audience actually wants. And it doesn't matter if this is a year down the road after this is put out. Please go ahead and still comment. I'll still get it and I'll still do my best to reply promptly. That being said, if you have been here for a while and you don't want to do the role-playing portion, I've chapterized this video, so go ahead and skip the story element portion and go straight to lesson right hand technique. So if you're still here, that means you're ready for the role-playing portion. Let me set the scene. You continue your long walk along Old Luthier Way. The time-worn cobblestone crosses the entirety of the Six-String Empire, from the southern coastline of the Crystal Sea all the way to the jagged peaks of Marshall's Wall to the north. You're on your way to Vitriani, the capital city of the Six-String Empire, because you left your home in the small hamlet of Rosette. You go seeking employment or a way to make money or your fortune in order to save your family's home. It's still weeks away, but still you walk. You notice that it's starting to get dark. The sky is turning from the bright blue to hues of tangerine, indigo, and coral. Before long, dusk sets in, and the forests on each side of the cobblestone road become an impenetrable black mat, devoid of form and structure. You may have to sleep outside again. You've done it before, but rest doesn't come easy when you're sleeping outside, because you have to stay attentive, for the dark of night has many dangers for the unaware. Just then, your mouth starts to fill with saliva, realizing you haven't eaten since you woke this morning. You smell bread and meat cooking somewhere in the distance. You quicken your pace. You crest the next hill, and before you see the glimmering lights of a town. Oh, it's when you realize the Turner's Crossing was a little bit closer than you thought. You won't have to sleep outside after all. You rush up to the gate. They allow you in. They point you towards the inn tavern, known as the Quarter's Rest. When you enter, your stomach grumbles, smelling the food cooking inside. You approach the barman. He's about average height, a little bit of a stocky build, and occasionally he greets you with a smile while occasionally brushing this auburn hair from his face. Welcome to the Quarter's Rest. Pull up a seat. I'm Griff. I'm the owner of this establishment. What can I do for you? You explain your situation. You only have 5 silver picks left, enough for maybe a meal or a place to stay, not both. Well, you look healthy enough, but you're not going to make it to the capital with just 5 picks and worn out boots. I'll tell you what, I have some things that I need help with around here. Nothing like keeping the bar or turning in bed sheets, things that pay a little better. I'll only charge you 3 silver. I'll give you some soup, bread, and a place to stay tonight, as well as in the morning. I'll give you some bread and cheese. If you promise to suss out and take care of whatever is stealing from my ale stock in the cellar. What do you say? I'll even throw in some extra silver picks once you've got the job done. Deal? You shake the man's hand to solidify the pact. You eat your food, rest in the attic, which is, adequate. It's warm, it's dry, and you rest well. In the morning you wake ready to go, but you still make sure that you eat your breakfast before heading down to the cellar with Griff. If you see right there, you can see the footprints leading right from the ale storehouse all the way to that small little tunnel over there. It's only about 3 feet wide, and it won't fit my frame, but you shouldn't have any problems with it. Here, take this dagger, just in case. I'll see you when you're done. And with that, the burly man heads back upstairs. You start to make your way to the tunnel. Peering in, it's not dark all the way through. You can see some flickering light at the end. So you press on. You go through the tunnel, you're able to crawl through. Not quite on hands and knees, but you're able to make it. And within a minute, it opens into a larger space. There's a smoldering fire with 2 raggedy small tents near it. A few empty ale bottles strewn around. And as you look around the scene, you notice in each of those tents, 2 yellow eyes staring back at you. You stop. You start to back up towards the wall, back towards the way you came in. However, before you do, 2 green-skinned goblins with 8-note clubs in their hands start swaying and lurching their way towards you. It's time for combat. So that's the setup for this first encounter in Adventures in Guitarland, where you get to take on 2 goblins. Since there are 2 goblins, there are 2 separate pieces of music. One is based on the 5 chords that I've already taught you. The other is on the C major scale in the open position, again, that we've already went over. Play the chords as quarter notes and the scale in 1/8 notes. This encounter, once defeated, is worth 30 experience points. The music should be played at 80 beats per minute. You don't have to play it like 120 or anything of that nature. And if you're interested, in the description down below, I do have a link to the PDF of this document so that you can just print it out, or you can pull it up on your computer screen without having to access the video again. With that, let's get to today's lessons. All right, so picking technique and strumming technique. All right, hand stuff. We're going to start with just the hand and not the pick first. We're going to go through these quick because this has already been a pretty long video. So, strumming. Really, as long as you're not beating the crap out of the strings or going so soft you can barely hear yourself, you're probably strumming okay. The things I want to teach you right now is there's 2 types of strumming. Some people go from the elbow, others go from the wrist. It's kind of up to you which one you want to do right now. I'm more of a wrist person. I don't prefer doing the elbow, but there's a lot of people who have a lot of really good technique with that. Aaron Lewis from Stain does that very, very well. So there are ways to do it. But really, as long as you're able to effectively get that upstroke and downstroke, you're okay. Downstroke is when you're moving down, upstroke is when you're moving up. Pretty simple stuff. When you're picking with your fingers, especially on single string runs, you want to use your thumb and downstrokes on the low E and the A string. And then for the other strings, for right now, really practice using your ring finger. See how I switched from ring finger and then went over to the thumb? That's what you want to do. When you're moving that ring finger, try to move just from this knuckle down. So have it placed and just kick it straight. Okay, kick it back. Notice I'm not doing this, I'm not bending it. When I pull it up, it's pretty straight. That's what you're going to want to do. That's going to help out later on when you get into more advanced finger style techniques. Now, a pick or a plectrum, which is a technical term for anything that you're going to use to sound out a plucked string instrument. It doesn't have to be an actual pick. It can be anything. It can be, a piece of an old card. It can be Brian May from Queen played with a 6-pence piece. Still plays with a 6-pence piece. It's a piece of coinage that's roughly the size of a dime. So you can play with that. Just understand that the thicker and harder and less give, this has a decent amount of give, the less give that pick has, or that plectrum has, the more wear and tear it's going to have on the guitar strings. Okay, so how to use a pick when you're strumming? Very similar to when you're strumming with just your fingers, except you're holding your pick. I like to hold mine between my index finger and thumb, just like so. Not putting the whole pick out there, but getting, just a little, the barest end of it. And you run it through. Again, this is a downstroke. that's an upstroke. And I know that I'm using my elbow right now instead of my wrist, but that's how it goes. So there you go. That's strumming with a pick. Again, don't go too hard. You want to make sure you're sounding all the way through. Don't. Okay? The key with the pick is to have that control. So if it's an A chord, make sure that you're not doing that. You shouldn't be hitting that low E string. It should be, that's on the upstroke, which is when it gets harder, because you have to be able to hit that and then get out of the way or start back down. So there's using your pick for that. However, when playing things on a single string, that's when you get into your picking techniques. Today we're going to go over alternate picking, and that is down, up, down, up, down, up, regardless of if you change a string or not. Okay, so if I'm playing this, down, up, on the A string, I skip the string. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And that's how you use your pick. All right, so let's talk about tablature. I have an example tab down here, and actually that's what we're going to be using for a music piece. If you look, it has 6 lines. Each one of those lines represents a string on the guitar. Now, unfortunately, it's not like this. This is not the bottom line. This is the bottom line, that's the top line, and then so on and so forth. It makes it seem weird when you're looking at it through a video, but when you're looking at your guitar, when you're looking down at your guitar, the first one, the lowest one, is your low E. It's the one that's closest to you. The one that's farthest away from you, and also kind of looks like it's the higher one, is that high E. So if you just remember that the lower the note of the string, the lower the line on the tablature, you'll get the right string. So each one of those lines on that tablature represents a string. E, A, D, G, B, and E. If there's nothing on the line, it's not played at all. If there is a number there, that number tells you what fret to push down. It does not tell you what finger to use, and typically if you're looking online at tablature, it does not tell you the tempo, or whether it's a quarter note, an eighth note, a 16th note. It doesn't tell you that. Because I put the standard notation above mine, it does. And we're only doing quarter notes and eighth notes right now anyways. I think with a rest as well. But that's it. So when you're looking at it, let's go through this. So this says on the bottom line, that E line, low E, to play 0, 1, and 3. Then you'll notice on the next string it says 0, 2, and 3. Then on the next string it says 0, 2, and 3. Then on the next string it says 0 and 2. There's your G and your A. Then 0, 1, and 3, 0, 1, and 3. Right? So that's how you read tablature. If the line has numbers stacked on top of each other, it means you play them at the same time. That's typically going to be a chord. We'll throw an example right there of a D chord. That's what a D chord looks like in tablature. So it's telling me that when I play it, I play all these notes at the same time. And it's a 0, a 2, a 3, and a 2 going up. So that's the frets that I put my fingers on, and I play. That's what a chord looks like in tablature. So now that you understand how to read tablature, here's the encounter music. So now let's look at this encounter. Since there are 2 particular goblins that you have to fend off, there are 2 separate pieces of music that you're going to have to complete. One based on chords, and the other one based off the scale. So real quick before we get into this, remember the tablature lesson and how to read this. This also has the musical annotation which says that it is 4/4. So 4 beats per measure, each beat being a quarter note. With the chords, we're playing quarter notes, except for the last 2 we're playing half notes, and I'll explain how that goes. This should be played probably at 80 beats per minute if you have a metronome. If not, get a rhythm going with your foot. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's your quarter note, okay? So prepared to practice that. So don't worry about the musical annotation up there. Look at the tablature right now. It'll show you how to play these things. You should have these chords memorized hopefully by now anyways. I also put the chord name up there so you can just do that if you want. There's also a chord diagram attached. So feel free to look at that as a refresher. So let's look at it. I'll show you what it should sound like. So if you see the little square box, that means downstroke. The little carrot looking thing, that's an upstroke. Down, up. So let me show you how this should sound. So that's what you need to be able to play. Once you can play that, hey, that's one round. Good job. So the second one is going to be an eighth note. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, then it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and you're going to be playing on all of those. This is just going through that C major scale that I already taught you. So let's look and see how this should sound. That's it, ending on the root note because that's nice. So play through that, that's another round. Don't forget how the combat works. If you need a refresher, go look at that video again. So that wraps up today's lesson, guys. I'm really excited that we finally got to have a story element out there. I'll try to have more come out when it's appropriate. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, and the bell icon so you're notified when we come out with new content. And please do go ahead and leave that comment below letting me know what things you want to learn. It only helps me aim and vector this particular content towards helping you become a better guitar player. So that being said, enjoy your journey and I'll see you in Guitarland.